from the frat house. It has been so crazy here. Oh my goodness. It's been chaotic, but I'm back. Hi, how you doing? I moved my desk. It's a mess. Don't look too close. So that took up a morning. We had 3 birthdays last week, and then Easter, and hockey playoffs, and now our local team is done, but that means Mike will be going to Chicago to work with the Blackhawks. So go Blackhawks. A little bit of chaos, yeah. And then today we've got kids taking ACTs and pre-ACTs and Liam's checkup, which was fun. I'm exhausted. Wrangling a 2-year-old just to get him to sit down so you could listen to his heartbeat. Oh my goodness, let alone look in his ears, look in his eyes, check for hernias, weigh him, get him to stand still on the scale, get him to lay still on the table so they could get his length, and then hold him down so we can draw blood. Yeah, it's been a fun morning. I'm so tired. So, okay, enough of my whining. I wanted to show you guys just kind of an update on the setup in my Midori that I'm using basically just for my stuff. I have one Midori that's all the blog and YouTube planning and all the analytics for all that stuff, and I'm doing a separate video for that. This one is the Midori that I use for my reading journal. There's like a bullet journal type of setup in there just to keep track of what I've read, because I will invariably read an article that I want to refer to for something, and then I won't be able to find it. It's not that hard to keep track of stuff, but apparently, we've discussed this before, right? So I will show you how that is set up right now. If you guys have questions or comments or any of that good stuff, let me know. Okay, thanks. Bye. All right, so here's the Midori that I'm using, mostly just my stuff, not stuff for the blog or YouTube or anything. All my tech coding stuff is in here just because it made sense to have it in here. I didn't want it in with the blog and YouTube stuff. So it's the brown regular sized Midori Traveler's Notebook. It's set up pretty similarly to my black one that I used for the blog and YouTube. There is basically like a flyleaf here. What that came from was I wanted an envelope in the back, and I had these great kind of heavy envelopes that were A4, A5 sized. I'm really having a brain cramp today, guys. Liam exhausted me this morning. From when my parents lived in Scotland, and when they moved back to the States, my mom had all this stationery and whatnot that she gave to me after they moved again, when they moved to Florida. And I wanted to be able to put paper that's the Midori size in here somewhere without sticking it in the center pockets, like back in here if I could help it. So this was perfect. It was perfect size, and I needed something to attach this envelope to, obviously, because otherwise, I either have to stick it to the leather, which I don't have anything here that I really trust to really adhere well. So I just put like a flyleaf, attached it with some packing tape, just like in the other Midori. And it's kind of nice if I need to slap a Post-it in here real quick, I can do it on here. This paper is textured, so it doesn't hold a Post-it quite as well. It's only textured on this side. So, and then it just kind of keeps this stuff covered up, just in case there's any color transfer. I haven't seen any color transfer from the leather in either this one or the black one, but just to be careful. And like I said, really needed something to hold that envelope in. So that's what that is. This is the same idea. It's just 2 pieces of cardstock. This side is not nearly as textured as this side, and that's why the Post-its stay on there so well. So that's also just done with 2 layers of packing tape attached to this piece of cardstock. Okay? And that way I've got Post-its with me. I use them constantly, so it's nice to just have them there. First booklet is just little stuff like text conversations with friends. There's some addresses in here from people. And then this is what I've been using as a book journal. Still, obviously as I read, I'm still working on it. I read Max Berry's Lexicon. Excellent book. And I wanted to be able to have a book journal that was more than me just looking at big blocks of my own handwriting. And for those of you who have said, oh, but you have such nice handwriting, thank you. That is so sweet of you to say. I don't like my handwriting in the slightest. So I printed out some screenshots from the book. I loved this font that they used in the book. Just some origami paper that I had with some of my favorite quotes written in all different directions. I took some P&G Tips tea, black tea, best tea, and kind of painted some of this. So I'm not done with this yet. I still want to fill in. I've got obviously some blank spots I want to fill in with other shorter quotes from the book. So that is what that ended up looking like. And I'm going to continue this. I will look at this more going back and looking at it than I will just big blocks of my own handwriting. So a little flip out there. That's some of the paper that I keep in that back envelope. It's from a journal that we got last year at C2E2 that I love. But as time went by, the leather didn't hold up as well as I had hoped, so I took it apart. I can't believe I took that. So the paper's gorgeous, but so this is the thin paper insert from Midori. So that's 128 pages. I love this paper. I will definitely be getting more of these. So that'll be kind of like my visual reading journal, if that makes sense. The next part is, I just printed this. The next part is where I'm keeping track of what I read. Everything that I read. This will get lost in my file effects. I did do this in my file effects, and it just kept getting lost. I would want to refer back to an article or a blog post from someone that I read, and it would take me forever to find it. And like I said, I know this stuff should be easy to keep track of. I just have a very sieve-like brain. So I was using this calendar layout, which is gorgeous. I love it. Again, my issue is my handwriting and the paper that I printed this on. As I say in the other video, this paper was a ream, a legal size paper that I had FedEx Kinko's cut down to the proper size. And I, at the time, thought, oh, I'll get a little bit heavier paper. I don't like it, and it doesn't like my pens. So I had some just regular old kind of thin 8.5 by 11 printer paper, and I printed out Ray Blake's bullet journal insert for the Midori Traveler's Notebook. And I transferred anything that I still, like this is stuff I've read, but I wanted to take some notes on. So I set it up like a bullet journal, you know, I'll check them off when I'm done with them. Marked off with washi tape. He has them on the side, your days of the week, or yeah, your days of the month, and your month abbreviations, so you can mark what, you know, page that pertains to, as far, or what day of the month that pertains to. Index in the front, you know, just like your typical bullet journal. So this, so far, like I said, I just transferred it all over. I just started using it, so I will give you guys an update in, yeah, maybe a month or so and see. The other thing this has really helped me with is I tend to have one audiobook going and one book that I'm reading going. So it's nice for me to be able to keep track what I'm listening to on Audible versus what I'm reading. Or if I get a free book, like at, you know, one source versus another, like if there's a free book that I get, you know, on the Kindle, I don't want to turn around and accidentally buy it in iBooks. So that's what this has been nice for, helping me keep track of what I have where. Between this and Goodreads, I can keep pretty good track. So that is fairly new. So we'll visit that again in about a month and see how it's going. And around those, I did not bind these at all. I just left them loose so that if I want to add pages, which I realized after the fact, they are numbered. So adding pages, not going to work. It's going to mess up my page numbers. But I really like the cover. The cover is, again, Marianne's 6-pocket craft folder. It's just the part 1 instructions. She did add a part 2 where she gets rid of the use of tape on it. I had already made this, but I wanted to be able to reuse this because it's my inside pockets as well. So this way I can take this out, I can bind it properly, put in another bullet journal insert, and then just use the same cover. Okay, so that's that. And then this is really thick. These are my project pages. Just like in my other Midori, I printed pages, I believe it was page 3 and 4, front and back multiple times, from DIY Fish's Midori Traveler's insert, life mapping inserts. These are my project pages. So I have, you know, stuff for a website I'm working on, stuff for tech coding, and then each one just gets on the front, just so I can keep track of them, whatever washi tape I used on the edges. This is kind of my table of contents. Because these are not numbered, I'm numbering them as I go. So I can add, like I've only numbered through maybe page 18, 20. So if I have, you know, if I get to here and I have a project that I'm going to need a couple more pages for, I can just slip in more paper and not worry about, you know, having one project interspersed with another. I'm just kind of type A personality like that, and it'll get to me. And I know that this batch of tech coding is a big one, so I'm going to need a lot of room. So I printed a lot of paper. Again, this one I did not bind so that I can add pages if I need them. And then that is just the back side that we looked at earlier of the craft, or the cardstock for the Post-its and the envelope. And I had said in the other video, I'll show you here just in case, I have them set up the same way, and I think I'm going to do a separate video showing how I got all this in here. Okay guys, sorry if there's a little gap there. Liam woke up from his nap, so I had to go get him before he started destroying things. I think I'll link to the other video. I talked about how I got these. I know everybody's kind of always asking, you know, how do you get this much in there? How do you get this many notebooks and a craft folder in there? I am using, I have to stop and think, 1, 2 extra bands and then the band that's in the Midori itself to hold everything in. So I basically laid everything out flat inside the Midori and slipped it underneath the main band of the Midori, and then this center notebook I slipped underneath that kind of, this is kind of like the piece that holds it all together is this center notebook. So I'm holding the front notebook in, that's attached at the center. Oops, that's bookmark. That's attached at the center, and the other part of that band is just on the front cover, this craft folder, because it's thicker, and it's held up really well so far. Same thing on the back. The back notebook, the project notebook, is attached in the middle to the back cover of that 6-pocket craft file. Okay, and then in this, I slipped all of that underneath the main band of the Midori, all of that, the cardstock, the envelope, and flyleaf, all of that goes underneath the center of the Midori, and then the center notebook, I slipped underneath that center one. I am holding it together with a spare elastic that came on the packaging, just because I didn't want to bind it yet because I want to be able to reuse that cover. So maybe a separate video where I take it all apart. I mentioned this in the update video on the Black Midori as well. Maybe I'll take it all apart and put it all back in so you guys can see. I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'm not saying it's the end all be all. I just have had a couple people ask, and when I try to kind of type it out and tell them how I did it, I feel like I make no sense whatsoever. So that's why we have video, right? So that is it. That is kind of my, personal projects, tech projects, reading journal, reading log type of setup for my Midori. If you guys have questions or any of that good stuff, let me know. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.